Here I've come into the platform and landed in your company dashboard, and this is essentially giving you a real-time view of how you're doing financially across all of your projects. So for all of your projects, you've got a view of the live contract value, how that differs from the tender value. Same goes for budget and also your margin or your gross profit on the project as well. And then you can then compare this across all of your projects with the live value, so how much you've actually certified to date, how much you've spent today across all of these projects, and what your actual margin looks like. And if for some reason your actual margin is different to your contract margin, you can quickly dig into the projects that look like they're in the negative or are less profitable than you would expect them to be at this stage of the project. But before I kind of dive into one of the projects, I'll just briefly show you how you can actually keep this platform updated. And it starts really simply. Any invoice that you receive from a supplier or subcontractor, you can simply forward it into the system. So each company has a designated email address that you'll get when you sign up for the platform. Quite simply, you forward any invoice into the system. And what that actually does is it picks out all of the financial information from the document, also who the supplier is. And if there's any information in the document that can give us a prediction, give the system a prediction as to what project or cost category, cost code this invoice should belong to, we will pull that out and also map it to the right project or cost code. However, if we don't pull that information from the invoice, you or someone on your team can simply come in and allocate this to the right project or cost code. And it works in sort of like a queue-like format where you can simply work through all of the outstanding invoices each week. And if you need to actually split an invoice across multiple projects or multiple cost codes, for example, you've gone into a Howdens or a Travis Perkins and you've bought items for different projects or for different cost categories, you can actually split the cost. You can actually split this invoice here in the system and allocate each line item or each part of the invoice to different projects and different cost codes. Yeah. Once you're done here, you simply approve this invoice, and what will happen is that it will automatically update your project cost report, which I'll go on to show you shortly. Yeah. Now I'm going to head over to timesheets. So timesheets is essentially where you track the cost of labor each week. So quite simply, within each of your projects, you can allocate time. You can allocate the time worked to different projects and cost codes. So for example, if you have an electrician or a trade who has worked on more than one project in a week, you can actually allocate their time to several different projects and cost codes, and this will also update all of your cost reports in real time. I'll just go ahead and do this quickly. So I've allocated this worker's time to 2 different projects and several different cost codes. I'm actually just going to approve this timesheet now. Great. Now if I head over to this test project over here, so I'll click into projects and then into test projects, and then click into my cost report. And basically what I have here is a real-time review of all of my actual costs to date, and essentially a live cost report or a live CVR of where you are on this project. So you've got your contract value, which includes everything that's included in your scope of works and also additional variations. You can see the comparison between where you started this project at and where you are now. Then you've also got your contract budget versus your tender budget and the increase, your margin and the likes. Yeah. And then here what we've actually got is your last certified application, the value of that application. That's your current value. And then you've got your actual cost as well. And here you can see that for the timesheet that I did, the days that I actually worked on the project, a cost has been added to this specific project and added to the relevant cost codes. So if I click into the actual cost report here, you'll see that for each of the cost codes, I've got a value here in actual costs. And what we do is actually compare your actual cost to date for this cost code to your budget to date. Yep. So if you're under or over budget, that will immediately be flagged up by the system so that you don't wait till the end of the project to figure out that you're actually over budget on a specific cost code. Yeah. And for any of these cost codes, you can click into them to see more detail about what invoices actually contribute to that cost. Yeah. Similarly, any invoice from your supplier or subcontractor, is also added in here as well. So the one that I sent in earlier is here. You can click into this and see more detail. So this also kind of acts as a file storage system for all of your invoices and costs under the relevant project. Great. And in addition to that, obviously, it's one thing to obviously track your actual costs, but you also want to be able to see that against your progress here in the system. So I'll briefly run through this, but we essentially have an area where you can upload and store your bill of quantities or scope of works for that project. And what we enable you to do is to link each of those items to a cost code so that we can track this budget and value and your current value against each of these cost codes in the cost report that I just showed you. And also, obviously, one thing that's certain on these projects is that there will be variations. So you can actually use this to store a change register here in the system and track the status of these variation orders as to which one's actually been approved. And then last but not least, you can actually do your payment applications here in the system. So we'll pull from your bill of quantities and give you the ability to actually store what you've applied for each valuation, what was certified by the client. And once this is approved, this will update your bill of quantities here in the system, and then also update your current value, right? And so we'll not only do this for the project as a whole, but it'll also do this on a cost code level. So here you'll be able to see the current value and budget for each of your cost codes based on your last payment application. And as I said earlier, you can then compare your budget to date to your actuals to date. Yeah. We have a number of other features that make tracking costs super easy. Like purchase orders can be created in the system, for example. You can use those PO numbers to track your costs and ensure that you haven't paid for more than what you'd initially ordered. So if I click into one of the purchase orders here, you can actually see the invoices that sum up the value of the invoices that have come in with this PO number and ensure that you're not overspending on any of them. Yeah? So here's a very brief run through. I've kind of rushed through this, but really just wanted to give you a quick overview of the system so that you can share this with your team. Please do let me know if you have any questions. We'd be happy to answer them. And once you have had a chat with your team, please do feel free to reach out and let's book in some time. Great, thank you.